How exactly does real estate make you an income? The question is basically the title. How do people make enough money to live as full-time real estate investors? Seems like the only way to make actual money is by property appreciation. And the cash flow is negligible. But also people talk about achieving financial freedom with just a few properties. What am I missing? Seems like you'd have to have 1,000 doors to provide an actual respectable income. Sorry if I seem super naive, just trying to get a big picture idea of this. Real estate is bad if you're looking for income. It's great if you're looking for long-term wealth. It's a long game. At least for me. I've bought properties that had a little cash flow. It certainly was easier when rates were lower. Over years rents increased more than expenses. Properties appreciated and equity was built. When I say years, I'm talking 15-20 years to see significant income and wealth growth. Buy a copy of The Small and Mighty Real Estate Investor. 5 ways. 1. Equity capture, buying at a discount and rehab. 2. Appreciation, buying in appreciating markets 3 year over year. 3. Rental income increasing 3 year over year. 4. Mortgage paydown, borrowing with today's dollars then paying off with future dollars. 5. Tax write-offs, offsetting income from all sources with depreciation. It is a long game, but with refinancing to pull equity for more, it can snowball over time. It does require another source of income to cover living expenses until you build your capital stack. 3 things. Property appreciation. Rental income, which can either buy you equity in your property, or if you own it outright, give you a straight income. And tax offsets from certain expenditures on your property. There are REITs giving dividends. There is rental income. And there's price appreciation in the long run. The ability to have cash flow that is enough to live off for the rest of your life depends much on how consistent your rentals are occupied. It's possible to have enough cash flow with just a few properties if your location is good and the price is affordable. I'm new and only have a few doors, but I make $1,000 per month profit on each of them. Then I reinvest into another home. I can definitely see how it can quickly become a full-time income where I can quit my job. I own a $3mm vacation home that grosses $165,000 per year. It is fully paid off. It is only occupied 15 weeks per year. Those 15 weeks go for roughly $12,000 per week. It's fully booked a year in advance. It was built in 2017. So little to no maintenance. It depends on what kind of deals you can find, what kind of cash flow your units will give, and most importantly, what kind of lifestyle you want to live off of that. I've read stories of people who own only a couple properties, but they're all duplex, triplex MFH, and they cash flow a few thousand a month after expenses. Then there are others that own dozens of properties with barely any cash flow from each. Then you have the whales making 5 to 6 figures a month from hundreds of properties. It comes down to your pain tolerance for work and how much you want to live off of. If you have 6 doors and 3 mortgages and the rent is $9,000 and your mortgages are $3,900, you have $5,100 to live off of personally before MISC maintenance and repair costs. I have 13 properties, all owned free and clear, all located in solid areas, and they bring in around $21,000 a month in rent. I don't have to work, but I still have a 9-5. If my 9-5 ends, I'll likely do nothing. Even my primary is paid in full. You buy multifamily in cash, then do a cash out refi. With paying cash you can get better deals. The idea is buy duplex or triplex units so that one door pays the bills and the other door is profit. You buy one for say $175,000, you cash out refi to get $70,000 back, then spend that again on another multi. Family unit. Next thing you know, you got 5 properties all making 1-2K in profit a month plus the long-term equity built from holding the property. It depends on the strategy you employ, how much income you make, or access to financing plus risk appetite. In my case, I had time and a decent income. I purchased all my properties as primary. I go and purchased another property when my current property reaches $500 in NOI. I used money I saved from my regular job. I never cash out refinanced because I preferred cash flow and managed risk over equity. It's been 7 years now. Real estate is a side income which helps me offset my expenses. I had multiple roommates for 5 years. I don't need to do that now because the cash flow replaced the need for the roommates. That's a win in my books. You tend to not make much income at the start. You have to build your portfolio. You want to pour as much capital in as you can. Acquire as much property as possible. Then when everything goes up, rents, property value, etc., you start getting more and more potential for income. In the end, you can roll it all into an apartment building or other large investment and have enough cash flow to live on for life. The secret is time. I bought a triple-decker when I was relatively young. Could retire tomorrow if I wanted. Not even 15 years later. We're at the end of the cycle though. So if you haven't started yet, you are probably looking at a long journey, depending on your other income and assets. You use appreciation cash flow equity pay down to get enough units where you can live off just the cash flow. I mean, for me, it's very much a side job. I break even and will eventually be able to cash out. Eventually, I am in the Bay Area, so that's really all I can hope for. It just depends on your strategy and startup costs. I have property A that had a lot of startup costs. HCOL market. And my monthly expenses are $3,000-ish and it rents for $4,700 month, currently has a 2-year tenant. Property B had low startup costs. LCOL market. Costs me $950 month to operate. And rents for $1,500-$1,600 month. I'll be looking for a new tenant at the end of the month. In the end, I really just need them to cover their own expenses. I make too much from my W-2 job that I need more write-offs than income. Like someone else mentioned, the real wealth I'm shooting for is buy and hold equity. Don't buy negligible cash flow properties and it becomes much easier. Even if we assumed a negligible income of $100 mo. $1,000 would be $100,000 mo. That's way more than respectable. It seems minor when starting out. But it's about scale if you are trying to go full-time. Most people don't get there. And they just build a nice nest egg to retire on through equity. Rent is X. Mortgage and expenses is X2. The rest is mine to keep. Variable. But more or less on spot. Plus every 10 years or so we refinance to reset and take some cash. Not planning on selling a property ever. Mainly renting out the properties. After paying the mortgage, rest is profit. It's the long game for us. We have 2 doors, both out of state, low-rate mortgages with 3 and 8 years left to pay off. We have an 10K emergency expense in one and a 6K and growing expense account for the other. Once we are paid off on both with 10K in each for unexpected calamities, we will get a nice little monthly nut to have choice to go semi-retirement at our good-paying day jobs. Spend time with our kids. At the least take some nice long vacations on the regular with me starting that at 58 and my wife at 51. Some flip homes. Some flip contracts of homes. Some get rental income with cash flow. So as a REI. There are many ways to earn money. Most of the big profits starts at signing.